All right, grown-ups, it's just our time. I love the babies, but to help you, I gotta speak my mind. This segment's here to help you grow with book reviews, lessons, and things you'll be glad to know. If your little one's restless or looking to play, send them to my other playlist. The read-alouds there will brighten their day.
Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to the Teacher Lady Show. This segment is the Teacher Lady Speaks. I'm Miss Erica, the Teacher Lady, your fairy godparent when it comes to sharing joyful stories and growing young minds. Now, here on this segment of the Teacher Lady Speaks, we use my experience educating tiny humans to help enhance your experience raising them, okay? And this is done through resources, insights, and honest reflection from a well seasoned educator. Hey, that's me, who understands just how hard love work can be. I get it. You can think of this series or this playlist as a lesson plan for this week's theme. It's here to answer the question, how do I get my child to get it? Whatever it may be. That's where I come in. This week's theme is all about finding your passion. We kick things off with two powerful read alouds. We had What Do You Do with an Idea and Small Girl Tony and Her Quest for Gold. Then we had behind the book reviews on both books, and now we're wrapping it all up in this episode of The Teacher Lady Speaks, a crash course in how to raise children that understand how to get to their passions and ultimately make their own dreams come true. You ready? Let's grow. How to explain this idea to a young child. So, if I was trying to explain what a passion was, I'd say something like a passion is something you really love doing, even if it's hard or even when it gets hard. It's what makes you feel most proud or excited or alive. And sometimes you don't know what that is yet. But when you do figure it out, making sure that you pour into it and help it to grow are so important. So, passions are the things that make us feel alive. They're the things that excite us. They're the things that follow us and that stay in our brain. And you can have multiple passions. I would find an example that connects back to that specific child. So it might be, do you remember how you played soccer and you finished the season, but you didn't actually like it or feel like it was something you were supposed to do? So that doesn't count as a passion, because a passion is something that you feel like you're supposed to do. It's an idea that follows you and that is so big that you don't have a choice but to give attention to it. So for me, my passions are writing, my passions are teaching other people, reading books, and going to the library to get inspired to read and make more books. These are all part of my passions. What are the things that are inside of you that give you that same feeling of excitement? Maybe it's something you want to invent. Maybe it's a place you want to create. Maybe it's an artwork you want to put forward. But whatever it is, your passion is how you should go through life, because it's the thing that is going to feed you most. And that's how I would hold a conversation with a child. The more practical examples you can give, like if their dad has specific passions or interests that he absolutely loves or that they absolutely love. If the grandparents love to knit and create sweaters and that is their passion and they always want to do it, those are some examples I would give my child to help them to explore what their passions are. I'd also make it clear that a passion can just be that. It does not have to be a job. A passion does not have to make money. A passion might be a hobby. They might be the same, but they might be different. Sometimes we have hobbies that we do just to try something new, and it doesn't mean that we're passionate about them. In order for it to be a passion, it has to be something that is consistently tugging at you to do or to try, something that is positive and good, and something that excites you or makes you feel good about yourself. So for the grown-ups, passion is less about talent. I think a lot of times our head goes to passion being talent or passion being something that that child can utilize as a job or to make money for themselves or start a small business. And that's not necessarily true. A passion needs to have the space to grow on its own with no strings attached. And I know that's hard. In a world that everything has to be monetized and sold on an Etsy shop, it is very difficult to start thinking about passions as them just being the passion. But if you want to feed your child and you want to raise a child who is able to follow their dream or their idea, who is consistent in the things that they want to do, you're going to have to disconnect it from all of these other strings. Okay. If their passion is dancing, let's not be like, you have to be first place in this dance competition or attend this TV show and dance good on a TV show. Allow the thing to be the thing. Let them just dance. Play music so that they can dance. Put them in dance groups or art programs that encourage the dance, but remove the pressure and the strings attached to that passion, because now it becomes a responsibility in this way that can be unhealthy or even get the child to a point to where they don't want to do it. So you are passionate or inspired by dancing, but now because it takes away from ever being able to hang out with your friends, or it takes away from being able to go to a birthday party or, enjoying the other things that you enjoy in your life, you're no longer interested in that as your passion. And so it is super crucial that you protect your child's interest, and you protect their interest by not making it mandatory that it has to produce fruit, that it has to be performative for other people, or even that other people have to immediately benefit from it. Allow their dreams and their goals and their passions to live on their own. Hard to do, yet and still extremely necessary if you want a child that is truly invested in their own hopes and their own dreams. What will my child learn in school? As always, I compare the state of Texas to the state of California to figure out what curriculum is there and what your child might learn about the topic when it comes to public schools. So, in the state of California, there is no mandatory curriculum when it comes to the topic of passion or exploring your dreams or your gifting. It does not exist. It is encouraged through the social emotional learning aspect of the curriculum, but it's not mandatory. So this means that local districts choose how that information is presented to students, or even if that information is presented to students. So you can find some information about the topic in the California Health Education Framework from 2019 and in the California Social Emotional Learning Guidelines and Principles, but it is not enforced. So they may or may not be exploring their passions and their dreams in the classroom. Okay, moving on to the state of Texas. Ding, 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 we have a winner. So, in the state of Texas, there is a mandated part of the curriculum that teaches about exploring dreams, that teaches about exploring passions. So, passion related skills are part of the health education text, which stands for Texas Essential Knowledge and Skills. And these topics include self concept and emotional awareness, relationship building, personal responsibility, and perseverance. So, this is found underneath the text health standards, and they do consider those things like emotional regulation part of passion or dream building. And even though it's listed there, I don't necessarily agree. I believe that they are separate. And so, therefore, I would say while Texas listed as a mandated part of their social emotional learning, there are huge gaps and misses when it comes to having your child find their passion. Resources. So now I'm going to give you some tools that you can utilize to help your child find their passion and to encourage their passion if they've already found it, because that's beautiful. First up, we're going to explore is called Scratch MIT. Scratch is a free coding platform that introduces children to computer programming, storytelling, and animation. So instead of focusing on technical coding, Scratch lets kids design characters, build interactive games, and bring their ideas to life visually. The reason why this resource should be at the top of your to-do list is because there are so many different elements in regards to this program. So by going through the program, they might understand that I'm really into character design. More specifically, I'm really into the outfits for the character. Because it's so multi-layered, it really helps your child to kind of get different experiences to be able to focus in on the one that fits their needs the most. Okay. The next resource I'm gonna bring your attention to is called outschool.com. Outschool offers a range of live, affordable online classes that give children the chance to try new topics and interests. They have everything from baking to astronomy and even debate. The platform connects kids with passionate teachers from around the world. And again, it's important because if your child doesn't know their passion yet, sometimes they don't figure it out until they actually do the thing, right? So sometimes it's not until your child is in the dojo that they understand that, oh, my passion is judo or my passion is whatever else. You have to sometimes get them there in order for them to know that they have found, well, their thing. This is another resource to be able to try out. The next resource I'm gonna bring your attention to is an organization called Black Girls Who Code. Black Girls Who Code are organizations dedicated to closing the gender and racial gaps in technology by inspiring girls and young women of color to explore computer science. So their programs go beyond just coding, but they're also really based in leadership, confidence, and community. And they have everything from workshops, mentorships, resources for parents to kind of support their child through that process, and so much more. Also, the name aside, the coding program is intended for young girls of color. So if your child is not a Black girl, that does not mean that you should not also check out this resource. Other effective resources that will help find your child's passion: after school programs or clubs. This is imperative. They have to get involved in community. They have to have access to the things around them. Now, if you're like, Erica, I don't have no access to community money, that's okay. Here's what you're going to do: you're going to find the program that you think will work best for your child, and then you're going to inquire about scholarship options, work for payment alternatives. You're going to get creative with fundraising and asking that neighbor or that aunt or that friend to contribute, but making sure to get them around things that you think might spark that interest is literally a game changer. Think about it. Some people don't find their passion ever. Some people don't find it until they're 40. Why? Because when they were a child, they didn't have access to it. What would it look like for your child to literally find their passion now and to keep growing it and nurturing it and loving it all the way until they're an adult? It's so fulfilling and inspiring. And I personally, not a psychiatrist, but I truly believe that our passions and our joys help to combat depression, help to combat sadness. So find the after school programs, the enrichment classes that can help to start to spark those passions within your child. The next is probably my favorite resource on the list, and that is your local libraries. Libraries do so much. Libraries give information in terms of what else is going on in the community. They help connect you with other classes that might actually be held at the library. Of course, they have books and a ton of resources for both adults as well as for children. Oftentimes, they'll have computers. So if you don't have a computer to be able to use some of the resources I've discussed, you can go to your local library to be able to do that, and so much more. Baby, I'm going to need you to make friends with that librarian ASAP, because they know everything that's going on, and it truly is going to help you with your parenting and with help supporting your children. The last two resources I'm going to discuss, one of them are children's museums and science centers. Again, in terms of being cost effective, oftentimes museums will have a discount for people who are on Medicaid or food assistant programs. So you can always call and inquire about that. But getting your child into a museum or some sort of science exploration where they get hands-on experience with different things also is going to help spark those kind of like sensory things that make them happy and helps to figure out where their passion lies. And then lastly, I would encourage you to spend some time with your child volunteering somewhere. If you go and you volunteer at an animal shelter and your child can't stand animals, well, you're going to learn that, okay? And we know that that's not where the passion is. If you go and you volunteer with your child at a fashion show to prepare for the fashion show and they're so excited and they're interested in the garments and the fabric, well, you might have something there. So the more that you can put your child in a variety of places until they truly find that thing, the more likely they are to be able to find it. And here's the other thing about passions. Passions are not always consistent. You might be passionate about something at a certain point in your life and then decide you want to put it down and you want to try something else. You might have multiple passions at once. Passions are simply the universe way of saying that this thing would love for you to give it a try, that there is something about the way that your brain works and your anatomy works that is fulfilled by doing blank, by writing, by drawing, by dancing, by inventing, by creating, by building. But they are crucial. I can honestly say with the children that I have worked with, the students that struggle in terms of their social emotional skills, behavior management, communication, and so many other things, that when we put energy into finding that child's thing, that passion, that program that they're now looking forward to and excited about, all of a sudden these other areas get stronger. Academics get stronger, emotional regulation gets stronger, they improve. Because so often the missing puzzle piece is finding that enjoyment. So help your child to find their enjoyment. Now, if you're like, okay, Erica, I see the resources, I don't know, I'm not really sure still where to start. Really ask these questions in regards to your child. So close your eyes, just follow this exercise for me. Close your eyes and listen to these questions, and the answers from the questions that I asked might also help put you on the right path. I see you peeking. Close your eyes, okay? Okay, here we go. What makes your child lose track of time outside of simply watching television? And if it is watching television, is there a specific show? And what does that show tell you about your child? What does your child love to talk about? What can they keep kind of rambling on and on about? Or if your child does not talk a lot at all, what draws them? See, children might not talk, but they communicate in a variety of ways. So, again, what is it that they're consistently pulling at you to try to go towards? What thing do they want to constantly have your attention? What clubs or programs has your child asked to join? Which ones are they vocalizing in terms of exploring their own interests? And how have you responded to that? And lastly, when was the last time your child was genuinely happy? If it was something that you gave them, what did you give them? If it was something that they watched, what were they watching? Truly think about the last time you saw your child light up, and you might be able to find what it is that excites them, which can lead to, well, their passion. Okay, you can open your eyes back up now. Here are some guidelines when you are trying to get your child to find their passion and to invest in that passion. One, we're going to expose, we're not going to pressure. That means that we're going to bring them to the thing and we're going to see what they do with it. We're not going to force them to do anything, because as we know, when it's forced, it just don't hit the same, okay? Two, make sure that you are sharing your own hobbies and your interests and your ideas and your passions out loud. Your child should know that you're part of that book club and that you love reading science fiction. Your child should understand how important sewing is to your family, generation from generation. Really showing what passion looks like is super important when it comes to this topic. Three, hold your child accountable to their decisions, but understand if it doesn't work out after that commitment is over, they don't have to do it again. So if your child asks you to sign them up for piano and after 2 weeks of piano they hate it and they want to quit, well, no, we've already invested in piano at this time, but when it's over, we can absolutely look at something else. Having children be consistent with one thing is great at not only finding a passion, but honestly, just self discipline in general and understanding that you have to see things through. You don't have to love it, but let's go ahead and see it through, and then we can explore the next thing. And what I found with this too, because children change their minds every few minutes, I have found that when you hold them to their commitment, oftentimes what they started off hating, they'll end up liking some aspect or element, whether it's friendship or whether they learn to play a certain song. If they can change their mindset and their attitude, they'll be surprised at what comes from that class. And lastly, remember to celebrate their curiosity. Okay, if your child comes home and they're like, "Did you know this about amphibians and that about worms and this bug and that bug?" Don't be like, I don't like bugs. I don't want to talk about bugs. Gross, right? Because what happens now is there is shame in what it is that they're interested in. There is shame in what it is that they're excited about. So hold space for your child to have interests that don't necessarily align with yours. My daughter has plenty. There are plenty of her interests that do not interest me. But the last thing that I want is to shut down your spark before it's fully even had a chance to get off the ground. And even when it does get off the ground, ain't nobody shutting down your spark, baby. Offer a passion buffet. Explore them to multiple things until they find the thing that they want to continue with, and then take it from there. Expose them to a variety of things and really see what sticks and what feels good for them, and then they can continue with that thing. And lastly, remember that we live in a society that really encourages perfection right away, and that just is not the reality. So as your child finds a passion or something they're interested in, and let's say that they're ice skating and they're falling down and they're really being kind of mean to themselves about not being good at ice skating, encourage them. Encourage them to hold space and grace for themselves. Say something along the lines of, "You're learning. Everybody has to go through a learning process. It's okay. What did you like?" Really focus on the fact that they're doing the thing. Wow, you got to go ice skating today. That's awesome. You love this figure skater or you love this ice skater, and bring the attention back to the joy of that passion, because we've already talked about this, but we are not connecting your child's passion to them making a bunch of money. We're not connecting your child's passion to being worldwide and famous. We are allowing our children to find their passions without the strings attached. When to seek help. As always, in this section, I will tell you that you cannot do everything. And when it comes to helping your child find their passion, if you are struggling for these reasons, it might be time to call in somebody else. So let's go over some of those things. The first is if your child is constantly struggling with fear of failure. They don't want to do anything because they are scared of failing. They figure it is better to not try than to try and not get it right. They're just extremely hard on themselves. They have a lot of like down talk when it comes to self, a lot of self esteem issues. And overall, we can't get to the passion because you are not okay with anything about yourself. How you look, how you talk, where you go, everything is a problem. It might be time to get some help. And here is what that help could look like. One, look and see if the school has a guidance counselor. Guidance counselors are super crucial within schools because they help to combat things like this. This could be hormonal. It could literally be the age that they're at. It could be due to bullying and other people at school making them feel bad about who they are. Or it could be connected to something that we don't fully understand yet. It can be an underlying medical concern. We don't know. But a guidance counselor will help to start that process of exploration. Why is it that your child constantly has low self esteem, is constantly talking bad about themselves, does not want to participate? The next, I would encourage you, if that does not work or help, definitely go talk to a medical doctor, a professional. You will hear me say on these Teacher Lady Speak segments that we cannot fix everything. And sometimes there is a medical need that needs to be attended to. And of course, we don't find that out without going to the doctors. So if you notice that you're trying all of these things to combat your child's self esteem and they're having a difficult time finding their passion because they're having a difficult time finding anything, I don't want to find my socks, right? Then definitely go to a doctor. Make sure that they are okay in terms of a medical standpoint, and then take things from there. Lastly, there are a bunch of other resources I have before this section that I would encourage you to check out, but one of them definitely being the library. The library is going to help you to find ways to help your child's self esteem, whether that is a book, a program, a class, so on and so forth. They're an excellent resource. And I said lastly, that actually wasn't true, because truly, lastly, go look into your school's PTA. If your school has a parent teacher association, join it. I had somebody email me and they told me, I don't want to do my school's PTA because those are all of the almond moms and this mom and that mom, and they all gossip, and it doesn't matter. Baby, that has nothing to do with you. You go to the PTA meetings for your own benefit and to figure out how you can contribute to community. Anything in between, any people who don't like you, any gossip, you get to remove yourself from. You go to the meetings, you have a right to join the PTA. If your child goes to that school and there is a PTA, you have the right to join. So go and show up, take up space, speak up, step back, and really learn the things that will help you in parenting your children, because PTA is always going to know about the local events going on, giveaways, food pantries, and so many other things that are specific to that neighborhood and that community. So do not allow other people to take away from what it is you're supposed to receive. Common questions that I hear from, well, y'all. One is, my child doesn't show interest in anything. They don't like nothing. They don't want to do nothing. I don't know what they're passionate in because they say everything sucks. We talked about this multiple times at this point throughout the episode. That is okay. Open them up to exploring different things. Allow them the space to feel whatever it is they need to feel, but to complete the thing they signed up for. So you signed up for this jazz class. We're going to finish jazz next semester. And if you think it's the worst thing ever, then next semester we can do something else. But hold them to their choices and continue to have patience and explore different ideas, because their passion might actually change that behavior and that attitude. Should I push them to finish what they start? We have answered this. The answer is yes. If you signed up for it, you have to finish it. That does not mean you have to keep going with it, because we are humans and our mind change all the time. But if that child said, hey, I want you to sign me up for band camp, and you take them to band camp, and 2 days into band camp, they don't like it no more, but they're still safe, maybe they finish in that band camp, okay? Now, you don't got to go join Drumline, but you do need to finish the camp that I already enrolled you for multiple reasons. Self-discipline, seeing whether or not their emotions change throughout the camp, what connections and relationships might they build, and so much more. But yes, hold your child to their decisions. Allow them to feel their decisions. What if their dreams feel unrealistic? Or what if what they want to do in life feels unrealistic? This is the importance of disconnecting passion from like lifelong success. Because if it is a passion, I don't necessarily have to be good at it in the eyes of everybody else. It belongs to me. It's what I'm drawn to do. It's what I'm excited about. So I don't have to make $1 million doing it, and you don't have to buy it. A passion doesn't come with a marketing plan. It doesn't come with this analysis of whether or not it's going to make money. It doesn't come with having to have your child be famous. It is allowing them to explore the things that bring them joy or that interest them. Go read that book, What to Do with an Idea, one of our read alouds from this week. It's the thing that keeps following your child, the thing that they constantly talk about, the things that when you see their eyes light up, that is passion. And they don't have to be successful at it in the eyes of this world or a Western society. They get to just enjoy what is. So let's remove that pressure. Wow, that was a mouthful. If I had to summarize it, I would say we all deserve to have a passion, something that brings us joy and fulfills us, that is not connected to anything else. We deserve happiness and excitement around our thing. And I'm so glad that you took this time to figure out, hopefully, how to better assist your students or your children in finding their own passions, because trust me, they help with every other aspect of their life. I hope you and your little ones love the read alouds from this week and got a chance to check out the behind the book review. The last thing I will leave you with is that I am too an author and illustrator, and my passion, you see what I did there, has to do with children's books and getting intentional books to children in need, which inspired my Pay It Forward program called the Empathy Library. If you are able to, I encourage you to go to the website, donate what you can so that we can purchase books and get them to children that need them. Very straightforward and very intentional. Until next time, you remember to enjoy the moment or go be a joy in the moment. Bye.